Hello and welcome to our live session. I am Krystle, the organisation queen from Krystle Clear Solutions. And today we have Renee Dembowski joining us from the Social Butterfly Marketing business, where she is going to have a chat with us for the next 30 minutes around getting your business online and digital in terms of social media. So welcome, Renee.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Do you want to give us a bit of background on social media, so social butterfly marketing and where you've come from?
Yep, sure. Okay, so I'm Renee Dembowski and I'm the founder of Social Butterfly Marketing, which is a company based in Far North Queensland in Cairns, although we do work with businesses in Australia and in New Zealand as well. So we do the Diploma of I'm a qualified trainer for the Diploma of Social Media Marketing, and work closely with the Social Media Marketing Institute to deliver their 10-week intensive course as well. So we also do social media management for businesses and one-on-one consultations, e-newsletters, so a range of digital services like that. So, yeah.
And I guess for anyone that is watching or watches after the fact, we will put any links that we chat about during the next 30 minutes into the comments. So, links to the social diploma and the other one that you mentioned as well, we'll throw them in.
Sure. Okay, thanks.
Cool. So let's jump into it. Social media foundations. How do we make sure our social media foundations within our business are solid?
Okay, so just a little bit of a background on foundations. I find that and I found this especially through working with businesses one-on-one, so where we do our one-on-one consultations. The consultations are designed for people to learn, see where they're at or get a little bit of advice around running an ad, or they're looking for something specific that they need help with. But the problem with that is when you do start going into that, helping them create an ad, you realise that, in fact, the ad account isn't set up properly, or their Facebook pixel or their digital pixel isn't installed in their website. So they're wasting an opportunity to track the traffic that goes to their website so they can then remarket to them later on down the track. So all of these things are really important to have set up. The other thing is things like your pages. So just having your about information correct and consistent across multiple platforms. So when you've got your Facebook, say most people are familiar with Facebook. Then You've got Google. Then you've got your website. Then you've got your Instagram account. And what Google will do is they'll sort of cross-reference a business and all of their online presence, and they will know whether or not a business is trustworthy or worthy or credible or not, because they can gather information from all of those different sources. Mm-hmm. So if you start having conflict in information on your website, so for example, maybe the hours of operation are correct on your website, but they haven't been updated on your Google My Business listing, but then your Facebook's also a little bit different, or the same as your website, but not your Google My Business listing. And that is going to negatively impact your presence as well on Google. So it's really important that, and this is what I recommend for all of my clients, and I like to do for them, and they then maintain it every month, is to do a digital audit every month. So it is getting right down to the whole, is my Facebook business account set up properly? Are all of my team inside my business account? Have they all got the correct accesses? So when I say business account, I'm not talking about a business page on Facebook. I'm talking about business.facebook.com. And what that is some of you will notice that you have when you go to your page roles on Facebook, that you've got instead of yourself as a person, as a page role, it's a little suitcase. And the suitcase might have a name. So mine is called Social Butterfly Marketing. And that's a business manager account. And inside that business, that's like a suitcase that holds all of your Facebook and Instagram assets. So an asset is a staff member, or it could be an agency that you work with, or it could be your business pages or your Instagram accounts, because Instagram's owned by Facebook. It could be your ad accounts, your pixels, your ad pixels. It could be your catalog. So if you've got an online shop on Facebook or Instagram, your catalog is held inside this suitcase. So what would happen is, if Social Butterfly Marketing has a suitcase full of all of these things that we look after, and Krystle Clear Solutions has a suitcase that also is full of all of Krystle Clear Solutions assets, we can join our suitcases so we can share with each other. So I'll let us share the contents of our suitcases. And this really is the ideal way to set up a page if you've got multiple staff or people accessing your accounts, or you have staff that you want to be able to give them access to run an ad using your ad account. And the reason you want them to use your ad account, not their own, is because you should have your pixel installed from your ad account, which is tracking traffic to your website. So it all works together, and that's why it's so important to have it all set up properly. So there's that. Then you've got, so with your audit, you might have, is my business name correct? Is my ad handle correct? Is my ad account, have I got my ABN on there so that I'm getting invoiced correctly with GST? Have I got the correct people with accesses to my ad account? Because just recently I have come across a couple of businesses who have had randoms who've somehow accessed their business, their ad account on Facebook, and have removed them from that. So it's really important to make sure that you're keeping on top of all those security settings and making sure the right people have accesses. The other thing that you can look at is, have you got the most up-to-date cover image, or is it an old promotion that you're running? Have you invited everyone who's liked a post on your page to like your page from that? That's a good way of gradually growing your following. That's something that you should be doing daily, because also by keeping those things happening every single day, it's driving the engagement on your page. The more engagement you get because you're managing it properly, the less you have to pay to get into people's news feeds. Are you responding to all comments? So this is what we do. And you go through basically everything with a fine-tooth comb. That's something we'll do once a month. The other thing that you can do as well with that is you can also get somebody from within your organisation, so staff members say, listen, here is our checklist, our audit. I use an Excel document because I find that most people know how to use that. And I want you to go through every single point in this document and tick it to say, yes, it's current, it's up to date. Yes, it is still the correct email. Yes, it's still the correct phone number. And even though you think, oh, well, my phone number never changes, what does happen is Facebook changes. So Facebook will reset settings, and so then, like a lot of people now, if they haven't been in their Facebook info section, business info section, you'll be in South Samoa, not Australia, for your area code for your phone number in Facebook. So, yes. The other thing is, on your ad account, you will no longer be in your current time zone. You'll probably be in LA time zone right now if you haven't done an audit of your ad account. So then you're going to get reporting in the incorrect time zones. So, yeah, and those things just get kicked out every now and again when Facebook doesn't update. So obviously I'm referring to Facebook there because most people use Facebook, but Google My Business is another really important one to make sure is current and up to date. Yeah, and I would say for anyone who's got a local business, it's even more important than Facebook to keep fresh, up to date. Yeah.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, you think about, so let's say Facebook has 2.5 or just over 2.2 billion monthly active users. So that's not whole of accounts, that's just active every month. Google has 3.5 billion searches a day.
Holy.
Yeah. And so the reason also is that while Facebook has a large user base, there's even a larger user base for people doing Google searches. So if they're searching for, let's pretend I don't have a Google My Business listing and I'm a local cafe, and a customer might go to Google and they say, oh, I want to go to Noah for lunch. They search for Noah. They're driving, or they ask Siri, I want to go. And then what will happen is Up comes the website. Then that person who's driving or that person who's trying to find the contact number has to then go to the NOAA website, go to the contact page, find the phone number, call them, or try and find their hours of operation if they're actually visible on their website. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you've got your Google My Business listing set up correctly, all of your information is in a little square to the right-hand side. It's like a little digital wallet. So your website's there with a click of a finger, go to the website. Your phone number's there, and it's hyperlinked, so your customers can click on that phone number and call you immediately. Or they can click on your maps, look at your reviews, and have a look at your hours of operation. And there's nothing more irritating than going to Google and going, oh, yeah, they're open now, and you get there and they're closed because they haven't kept their Google information up to date.
I have done that, and I had some very stern words with the employees that were inside of closed shop.
Yeah, exactly. So that's sort of those are the things. And the other really important thing with that is as well is that when people engage with that listing, so when someone clicks on the phone number or turns on the map or clicks or engages with it, you can then get that data. So that data then is stuff that you can use, and it helps you with your strategy. So you might see that you might be based in, let's say I'm based in Cairns, and I'm a local business that people visit. But I might see that actually a lot of my customers or people who are coming to my business are turning the maps on when they travel from the Atherton Tablelands. So I might go, oh, wow, I've got a lot of people traveling down here on a Saturday or whatever, on busiest day of the month from the Atherton Tablelands. So I'm actually going to do a special promotion saying that anyone from the Atherton Tablelands will get a free coffee on a Wednesday afternoon if they come down to my cafe.
Yep.
And then you could advertise that on Facebook or advertise that somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure lots of people haven't really thought about using data in that way to help drive their social media strategy. So that's a really great kind of key that, people can do that.
Yeah. And I also, like with that data, if you've got somewhere that you can keep it, so it could even be in your audit document, where you might actually screenshot those results from February, then screenshot the results from March. So you can maybe have a look and see, what post did we do that month? What's given us that spike in engagement? The beauty of Facebook Insights, which are incredible, like they're so good, is that you can actually extract raw data and create your own analytics. Mm-hmm. And so the benefit to that one is that you can compare January, not 2019, to January 2020. Okay. Whereas if you're just taking it from their generic, overview, it's only over the last 28 days. Whereas I sort of feel like that's pointless when you can't compare it year on year, because that you want to compare apples to apples. Yeah.
And so, you've been talking about monthly audits a lot, but what about doing a big annual audit where you do look at a full 12-month period and go, I wonder what happened in January last year in comparison to January this year? Is that something that you recommend doing?
Definitely. And that's where if that's something that you leave until the end of the year to create, that can be quite a time-consuming task to do, because you're having to get all the data and then put it together. Whereas if you're doing this month on month, you've already got that 12 months of data there ready to go. You might actually tuck it into an Excel spreadsheet so that you can track it over the year, but then you can really sit down at the end of the year and go, you're not having to collect all the data then. It's already there because you've been doing it in a small job if you're doing it monthly.
Yep.
Yeah.
No different to doing your finances every month or writing your standard operating procedures every month. It's the type of thing that if you're doing little chunks all the time, takes less, but if you leave it till the end of the financial year,
then it's a huge job. Yeah. And I think
doing it.
Yeah. And so I think that's really good for reviewing your marketing budget. You did online marketing budget, campaigns, competitions, partnerships that you've got that you might have collaborated on, giveaways online for, having a look, are we going to repeat that? Are we prepared to pay for the competition ourselves, like pay for the goods ourselves if our partner isn't able to do it? Yeah.
And possibly also great to reassess the platforms that you're on as well, because, if you're saying that, let's say Google My Business, if you get your listing up and running and the engagement with that in comparison to your Facebook page, as an example, is much more, then, you know, it's probably worth spending your money on Google My Business ads rather than Facebook ads. So
yeah, ads and stuff like that, for sure. And I do often sort of, like, Facebook's my constant, so that's, and Google My Business. But I don't get the great analytics that a lot of other people will get. So if you're a cafe or a walk-in business, that's a little bit different. But because I'm an online business and because I don't have a physical location where I get foot traffic come to, I don't see the great data that a lot of other businesses do see. I see some, but it's not as good. But yeah, so Facebook is my constant that I'm always on. But I am always each year thinking about, you know, should I have a stronger presence on LinkedIn, and if I am, what is going to be the product? Because what I do on Facebook is just not going to work on LinkedIn.
So that brings us to our next point of social media content, because there are so many different platforms: Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Google My Business. There's so many. And choosing which ones to be on to start off with is a really big part of, you know, your brand and your brand voice and your strategy. But the content, once you've made those choices, is just as important. So can you walk us through how you should be making those decisions and the types of things you should be putting on different platforms?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people will share across multiple platforms. So they might use a scheduling tool like Hootsuite, for example. I don't recommend doing that to Facebook and Instagram. You can actually schedule posts for Facebook on Facebook and Insta on that one platform. So you don't need, and so,
why is that? Why would you not use an external platform?
Because it does impact your reach and engagement. So when Facebook doesn't like people using third-party programs. They like you to use their software, their own platform to do your scheduling and stuff like that. The same happens with driving traffic to external sources all the time. I'll find that will really reduce my reach and engagement if I have too much of that happening on my timeline. But so things like, so obviously I always recommend 2 platforms that you start with and get those, you know, working really well. And so Google My Business is the one, especially if you're a local business, but then also Facebook. And the reason is because Google is everyone Googles. Your business should be there for those Google searches, but also Facebook, because it is the biggest platform and user base, but also demographics. So you've got your younger people to your older people. You can do articles, you can do live videos, you can do normal video, there's just such a broad range of stuff that you can put on there. However, it is a more social platform. So if you're on there and you're doing a hard sell, it's probably not going to give you the results that you're looking for. So I personally use Facebook for a more customer relationship building platform.
So a lot more educational content and how can we help you?
Yeah, for me not, but that is definitely a way I could use it. What I've used it for is more businesses, what's happening, fun, vibrant, social, actually social. So, and the reason I do that is I know that is good for my engagement on my page. So can we talk about some really specific examples then? So let's take, like a photography business. How could you get more engagement through Facebook without selling? Sure. So with that, you could actually, I would, like, if it was men, this is just thinking off the cuff now.
So if I would put you on the spot.
It's fine. But for Facebook, I think it would be really useful to talk about this, to almost like a from behind the lens perspective. So of the photographer taking photo of the subject, the story behind the subject. So more your storytelling, more your how it led to this job perhaps and why you're working with this subject. And then, then you could do like the finished image.
And you could almost do the same thing. I'm just thinking about all the different, industries and clients that we both kind of work with. Hairdressers would be really similar. So instead of just portraying the beautiful hair that they've cut or colored, they could talk about the stories of their customers and, what got their hair to that point and why they wanted the changes and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly right. There could be some really interesting stories there, like just broke up with the husband and wants to get back and look hot. So that could be one. There could be so many different stories. But then I think but let's say then you go to Instagram, okay? And then on Instagram, you could actually be a photographer and you might go, my Instagram feed is actually going to be really edgy. It's going to be just the pictures that are black and white that I take. Yeah, so you might have a black and white theme on your Instagram, and that is just like one photo that it's more the visual thing. So if you think about and like cafes and restaurants and stuff like that, that would just be for pictures of your food with the correct hashtags, so that if I'm someone who's visited Brisbane and I want to find a great brekkie, I'll go hashtag Brisbane breakfast or Hendra breakfast or whatever you call it. That's
probably. Since you've brought up hashtags, one thing that I've learnt from you is that, again, social media content and hashtags are useful on some social media platforms and not on others. So where should we be using hashtags and should we not be using hashtags?
Okay, so on Facebook, you want to make sure you're not over hashtagging because it's quite spammy. So maybe just limit 2-3 at max. But on Facebook, when you do use a hashtag, it's not on Instagram. You need that hashtag exactly as it's written.
Okay.
So when people search for it, it'll bring up the ones as they're written.
Okay.
On Facebook, on the other hand, it will just look for words on the page. So whether or not it's got a hashtag in it. So you might go hashtag Ken's breakfast, right? And what's going to happen is Facebook will show you results, but it will show you, might say, cafe in the title, hashtag breakfast down the bottom. So we'll pick up words from throughout the blurb. So the reason you might use a hashtag on Facebook is if you've done a blurb and it doesn't really make sense to include those words in the blurb. So you might just put it as a little hashtag tag down the bottom so that if someone's looking for that, your post pops up because it's still relevant. Whereas, does that make sense?
Yeah, whereas on Instagram, you want to be having more than 3 hashtags.
Yeah, I think you can still have up to 30, but they say between 5 and 10 max. Okay. But then if you're looking at some of the really, the more popular influencers, they're not even really using hashtags. So I suppose you're using them to get found. If you're a cafe, we got to think about what is the purpose of using these hashtags as well. So the purpose might be that you might do sell. Like, for example, I did a post today which was for magnetic lashes. So I hashtagged magnetic lashes. So there'll be people all around Australia, women who are looking for magnetic lash inspiration. My post could pop up. My post pops up, then they'll go, oh, where did she get hers from? And then they'll go, oh, from, this lady over here. So we're going to now order it from that lady. So I love Instagram. My shopping is Instagram's where I do my shopping from.
Okay.
Yeah, it's better than Google. It's better than all of those. So and I try to think of it as a consumer. How do I use these platforms? How are they most useful to me as a consumer? And then that's how I try and bring it in my clients as well. So otherwise you'll find yourself just spread so thin trying to be on everything because you do want to be everywhere. And
I think you said something a little bit earlier is, pick one and get really good at that one. And then once that's working and you're getting those organic reaches, and even if you're doing paid ads, that those ads are bringing in the return on investment, then go to the next one and start building that one so that you aren't just kind of scattergunning that approach and hoping that one will work.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And, you can still use, while you're not doing exactly the same content across both, you can still use a similar post, but maybe reword it slightly, making sure you're changing your tags so that it's actually tagging properly on Insta and Facebook, not just shared from Instagram to Facebook and no one's, because that's not going to help you reach like that either. So,
And so when you're using that scheduling tool inside of Facebook, you can then schedule a slightly different post to Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if anyone who's looking to do that, you'll have to get in, make sure you've got Create a Studio. So for your business page, you'd go to your publishing tools, which is one of the options across the top bar when you're an admin on your page, publishing tools. Then when you click on that, down the left-hand side, it will say Create a Studio. Click on that and follow the prompts. Connect your Instagram through there, and that's when you can start scheduling your Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we've already kind of talked about monthly audits. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add around those?
I would say pretty much just really making sure that while you're doing your monthly audits or your team are doing the monthly audits, that you swap it up a little bit sometimes, because when you have the perspective of somebody else having a look at it, they might pick something up that you don't pick up. Or sometimes it has been known to happen when they're doing monthly audits, but then the monthly audit is not happening. So it's good to do an audit of the audit.
Yes. Yeah, just to double check in.
Yeah. You get a bit blasé, but things change so much that there's always something that needs to be updated. Yeah.
Okay. Great. And I guess for any businesses that wanted to access you, Social Butterfly Marketing is on all of those platforms. And one thing that I did want to let everyone know is that Renee is also part of a government-funded program called ASPAS. And if you are a business registered in WA, Northern Territory or Queensland, and you have less than 19 staff, then you have the ability to access that fund. And it gives you 24 hours of access to some really high-level consultants like Renee, so that you can get that tailored approach to your own business and start doing that, checking your foundations and doing your monthly audits and getting some really great direction on your own social media platforms. So I highly encourage anyone that has that access to the program to definitely jump on and have a session with Renee. We will put the link to that session or to that program in the comments, along with the link for Renee's website and Facebook and anywhere else that Social Butterfly Marketing is. I'll get Renee to jump on and do that. But otherwise, thank you so much, Renee, for joining us. I always get so much out of the expertise and the knowledge that you have. Every time we chat, I get a little bit extra information. So I hope that everyone that has listened currently or will listen after the fact, that you get a little piece of heaven and a gift out of this session as well. And definitely love to hear your comments around what you might have learnt from Renee and anything that you might be able to implement straight up. So thanks, Renee.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
See you later.